Hey, yo, what up? LG here in the house again. Episode number 4. Live at DJLG210 on YouTube and all other social medias. Twitch, we are now live at LG's house, LGS house on Twitch. I've hijacked a Twitch account and we're now on Twitch. Joining me in the other room is none other than the legend himself, Karl Schoening. Ladies and gentlemen.
You didn't tweet this out? I decided to check out your Twitter. I know you're
did
not live on it.
No, I did not. I'm not on top of that stuff.
No,
I need to get better at that, actually.
But the mass exodus of Twitter is a real thing. But at the same time, you know, we talked about this where you could stream anywhere, so you might as well stream everywhere.
There's so many things you have to remember now when it comes to doing this. I need to get like an AI assistant.
Okay, who brought the dog?
That can go ahead and retweet and repost. I just make the live show and it automatically does that. That's what I need.
There has to be something
I'm pretty
like
sure
that.
this technology already exists. I just haven't tapped into it. There's probably some kind of paid service you can do as well.
You and I need to start a running Google Doc so we don't get distracted on a podcast, like, you know, doing Google searches to figure out the answers to these questions. We do it after, and that's easy content to make, right? Like, could you go ahead and start that Google Doc? I'll do it.
Yeah.
But
why don't you get on there?
Yeah. So like, my thought on this is, and I don't mean to hijack the conversation because we'll get right back to it. Is AI assistant?
Mm-hmm. AI assistant that can just
can tweet and shit.
Well, that obviously exists, but it needs to like hit all my socials and like tailor it for the social media. You know what I mean, with the hashtags and stuff.
Yeah.
And it, you know, not just copy and paste the same thing, but use AI, or as we used to call it back in the 80s, the dang computers are going to take it and make it better. Anyway.
No. I'm trying to figure out the best way to live shows and such, because really, I think that would be if we're
you should write the code for it.
I was about to. Well, that's the thing about OpenAI is you can create your own, I guess, AI assistant.
That's what I need right there.
I need to get on this if it doesn't already exist, because somebody else is probably already doing it. Let's be honest. We're almost getting to the point where you can tell AI to do something and it'll do it. So.
I've embraced it. Yeah. It used to scare me, and I was worried about it. But now it's just another tool in the toolbox.
Oh, yeah. People aren't going to lose their job to AI. They're going to lose their job to people who understand AI tools. Like how you use NDI tools. That's something that I would assume most broadcasters don't know how to use.
No, not at all. We're using it right now. What up, boys? Matt Bernhard's in here.
Okay, yeah, maybe we start talking about something interesting. Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack the show, but I have that running thing now. So if we get curious, we don't start Googling something live on a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Good deal?
Well, no, I mean, that's what Joe Rogan does. He just sits there and he's like, oh, I didn't know that. What? Can you look that up on Wikipedia? Let's share screen.
He at least has a producer who's working in the background.
Well, I'm doing those duties myself right now, so.
Yeah, but like at the same time, like it'll be like he's on there for like, that's why he's on there for like 3 to 6 hours a day just talking. It's like, oh hey, let's check that out.
Not to mention he gets good guests sometimes. Sometimes he gets good guests.
He could probably, I was about to say he could probably get any guests. Do you really
Almost. He couldn't get Kamala apparently.
I know that was dumb on her part, because Trump did the exact opposite. He went on every podcast that he could have. Like, what was the I wanted to look it up, actually. I wanted to watch Trump on, what podcast was it you told me that Barron convinced him to go on?
Oh, I forget. Is that stoner dude with the long hair?
I need to see that.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I used to do a lot of cocaine. And Trump starts asking him about cocaine. Really? What does that feel like? I'm just like, what? It was pretty funny.
It's called cocaine.
I need to watch that. That like the many things that Trump does. There are just it's unreal that he would do something like that. Like just go on as many podcasts as he could. But
it worked.
Oh, I was about to say, like, it's actually a better way to reach audiences who probably otherwise would just ignore the presidential election.
Yeah,
like I want to
for
say
sure.
one of the most Googled things the day of the election was, did Biden drop out? So like I think there are plenty of people voting that were just like, where was Biden on the ticket?
A lot of people just tune out politics too,
Oh,
which is what I've been trying to do this whole year.
Yeah, to be honest,
They're eating the cats.
to be honest with you, yeah, I'm right there with you. Like where I know there's a lot of stuff going on. I have other things that I need to pay attention to, such as Oblivion coming out today. We'll be playing some Oblivion on Twitch a little later.
Oh
too.
yeah, since we are on Twitch, I am going to set up the Xbox, by the way, and after we're done doing this show here, we'll take a little bit of a break to get the equipment set up, and then we're gonna see what the remake of. What is it? Is it Elder Scrolls?
Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
It's like one of the best
Because Carl's
games.
nerding out about it, and he demanded I download this thing on my Xbox before he comes over here and does a show with me. So I've got it downloaded, and we're going to set up a Twitch stream. I'll try to. We'll broadcast on YouTube too. Why not?
Yeah, definitely YouTube
simulcast.
too.
Yeah.
I think that that's where the two audiences will probably be for that game today.
So we'll simulcast, and maybe we'll even do it on all our channels, because we do have, Carl and I started another YouTube channel called Broadcast Squad. So if you feel like following yet another channel, go there. That's where we do a lot of our behind the scenes stuff. For if you want to know like how we're doing this right now, then that's where you would find out. At some point, we're going to go through our entire streaming setup here, and explain what cameras we use, what video switchers, how we got these damn graphics on the screen, how you can see your chat. Little widgets. They're called web widgets.
Yeah, shout out to the chat that's saying what's up. Theo Vaughn, is that the name of the show?
Theo Vaughn was talking with JD about the cocaine. I don't know who Theo Vaughn is.
Well, remember the podcast that we were talking about Trump went on before the
Oh,
election?
it's Theo Vaughn. Oh, Theo Vaughn's the guy.
Yeah,
the stoner dude that he went on.
Good catch, Matt.
There you go.
Adrian, what's up? Geeky
Trump
guy?
knows what it feels like. That could be interpreted many ways, Theo Vaughn. Yeah, there you go.
Talking
Thanks,
about,
chat. What's up, Twitch? Geeky guy in Twitch. Get down and get funky. All right. What up, Adrian? Appreciate you people being up in here on the chat.
What do you want to talk about today?
No, that's it. Just want to say hi. Show's over. Y'all take it easy. I'm out. Nah, I don't. What do you want to talk about, man? There's a lot happened this weekend, for real. Like I didn't get to get into it at all because I didn't do a show yesterday that I was hosting. The Pope died.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
The Pope died.
Yeah.
On Easter.
Yeah, he was having medical complications anyway, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's been dying for a while now.
Yeah,
apparently.
I mean, in a weird way, could you imagine just the spiritual willpower to get to the biggest holiday? And once he got through it, I guess that was it.
Yeah.
Like I think there were concerns that he might have died like in January, right? Like they thought that was his deathbed. It feels like it's been a while, but
apparently
it was this year,
so. But
right?
he gave us. He said a few words before he died to address the public, and he even took a ride in the Pope Mobile around the Vatican Square area there.
Is that a real thing, the Pope Mobile?
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's
That's
like
cool.
a bubble. I think he was open. It looked like it was open air this time, but usually he's covered in like bulletproof glass.
Oh, that makes sense.
But it looked like he was actually open air from the videos I saw. But anyway,
that's cool.
R.I.P. to the Pope. A lot of people think maybe J.D. Vance killed him, but he was the last person he actually got a one-on-one with.
Shook his hand, probably.
Yeah. So, and Matt's in here. Who does JD Vance off next? Because he does have we mentioned this on the Sports Cave with Puma last night. He touched the college basketball trophy and it fell apart, and he dropped it on the floor.
Was that the basketball or was that the football? But either way, it was the
You're
NCAA
right.
trophy.
Yeah, you're right. And it to be fair, it looked like it was on top of like a holder, and he didn't know that, and it kind of just fell out. But either way, we were saying last night it comes in threes, so we'll see what happens next with that guy. That guy can't seem to get a break, no matter what he does.
No. It's almost one of those things where he's been thrust into everyday attention, and the thing about it is, if you followed me every day and I were doing a job that high profile, probably would have, my my own viral things that are kind of like crazy. But like we talked about, I actually kind of keep out of politics, but that is kind of crazy that I guess he was there for Easter, and that I think the Pope refused to actually have his scheduled meeting.
Apparently,
with him.
the first day, he sent an assistant, but JD stayed there and was like, "Yo, I gotta see this guy."
Yeah,
and so finally saw him on Easter, of all days. But yeah, are you a big film guy? Do you watch a lot of movies?
So I actually am probably a bad binger. Like I will watch. I have Hulu. I have Disney Plus. I have Netflix through my parents, so it only works on one device. But I will end up watching more Netflix almost because of that. Like I can't watch.
That's more than what I've got. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I really want HBO Max. That's the funny thing is you have all these other things.
I do have the HBO. Yeah. That's like the one thing I don't want to give up because there's a lot of good stuff on there.
I have like 7 or 8 things that I want. I will probably one day buy HBO to binge it, but I'll have to drop something else. But like when I drop something else, I'm like grandfathered into Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, and I obviously use ESPN Plus a lot.
Yeah.
So
I have Sopranos, Boardwalk Empire, and Deadwood, and Silicon Valley pretty much on loop at all times. So I can't give up my HBO.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, speaking of movies, the award ceremony, the Oscars, as you're familiar with, they have announced that they are now going to require their members to watch the movies before they can nominate a movie. They have to actually watch the movie before they're allowed to nominate a movie. Apparently, that wasn't a rule before.
Was this an issue, though? Like, it's one of those things where you just assume that they watched it maybe multiple times.
Is that how much of a sham this stuff is? Like, it's a popularity contest.
Yeah.
And now you didn't have to watch the damn movie before voting for it? Are you serious? Like, what kind of all your credibility just went out the window?
Well, that's the hope there is that they, I guess, must have had some kind of PR that they want to get ahead of, perhaps, where it comes down to like someone like you said, these are all sort of political things anyway. You hear about, I think, Eminem and Drake have only won like 1 Grammy apiece. I bet you Eminem's probably won a couple more, but he even talked about when he won Grammys, it was political. So at least
my name is
at least the Oscars are trying to get ahead of maybe that getting out, and then we brush it over, and it's the Oscars, and it's always going to be an award show that people will pay attention to because it's the standard award, I suppose.
I guess there's a lot of people that deserve one that don't have one, so I think it's dumb.
Well, I appreciate Adrian saying that it's dumb, but like dumb AF actually. But like, it's one of those things where I guess they just assumed they didn't need that rule to be in place, right? Like,
doesn't make sense, man.
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
Like they just assume if you are given the honor of like if you were voting for the Heisman Trophy, right? And you only watch Texas A&M, then you're probably going to think that the best player on Texas A&M is the Heisman Trophy winner or whoever just destroyed Texas A&M the most. And
it's like that one guy who didn't vote for Stephon Castle. He must have not watched any games this year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's Tim Bontemps is known as a Spurs hater. Spurs Twitter.
Bontemps.
Yeah. So, and like for example, I remember he was saying that the first 2 or 3 months of Wemby's rookie season, he just wasn't good. Like, he was emphatic. He said,
what the fuck is this?
Yeah, exactly. Like, did you just not watch Wemby? The only time he saw Wemby was Wemby's first game at Madison Square Garden.
It was probably just the national games. He didn't take it all in like you're supposed to.
Well, I'm pretty sure he just watched the one time that Wemby was in New York City where he lives, and that was about it. That was my guess, because Wemby didn't have a good game his first time in Madison Square Garden, balled out this Christmas. So,
Well,
and so did Steph.
While we're on the subject of movies, before we move on, did you ever watch the movie Tremors back in the day? 1990 Tremors with the great Kevin Bacon, who probably should get an Oscar for that movie, by the way. All right, it's about these like giant worms that are underground, and you can feel the tremor
Yeah.
That's why it's called tremors. You can feel them coming. They're like giant sandworms, like maybe like the sandworms from a Dune almost.
Okay.
And yeah, so they made a bunch of stupid sequels to it. But the original writers never owned the rights to the movie after they made it. It's one of those deals where they sold it off to the studio.
Okay, yeah.
And so the studio made like 5 straight to... They never were released in theaters. They were like straight to DVD, straight to VHS back then.
Yeah.
Sequels. And they were all crap. So apparently they finally got the rights back somehow. They fought and got the rights back. And they're going to make a sequel from the original creators of Tremors. This is one of my favorite movies. It's hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It's good. It's cheesy B horror, but it's great.
will they get the original actors back?
I mean, Kevin Bacon says he'd be interested in doing a sequel if it's a direct sequel from the original.
Yeah, which I imagine it would be.
Check it out, Adrian. You'll remember it. It's the special effects are typical of, a late 80s, early 90s movie, but it's nostalgic.
Well, that's almost...
And it's Kevin Bacon. Come on.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's almost the best part about looking back at anything prior to, like, 2005 CGI. It's like, oh, wow, that's how it looked.
There was no CGI. It's like stop motion, I think, most of it. No CGI whatsoever.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But I'm interested. I'm down. Congratulations, Kevin Bacon and the rest of the cast and crew for getting the rights back. I think it's a bunch of BS when the studio does some crap like that. Speaking of which, the dude who released that Sinners movie, he made some blockbuster deal with the studio where he's going to get the rights back 100% after so many years. And Hollywood's freaking out about it because nobody's gotten a deal like this except for like the big names like Scorsese and Tarantino and people like that. And they're saying that if this is the new way, big Hollywood film studios are going to fail. They're going to go bankrupt because they make money off the film in the long run. For 50 years later, they're still making money off the film more than the original creators. And I think, good, let them fail.
Yeah, there's things that are probably too big to fail, but it's not, I would say, big Hollywood theaters, but at the same time, they are. It's a weird... It's like, for example, Sony owns Alamo Drafthouse. So did you know that?
They bailed them out of bankruptcy, yes.
I think that's an interesting investment for the independent filmmaker community. So it's because Sony basically is I would say we're using like, Sony cinema cameras to a certain extent here. So you could probably do some really good low budget stuff. And with the advancement of AI tools, I get the feeling that film will always have its high priority place, but we're almost getting to the point where we need the theaters to have independent local films, and that's how it generates.
Well, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
I want the rise of indie film companies to take over. Texas is becoming a boom right now because they're building that big Hollywood studio out there in San Marcos.
I know, I need to get in on that.
And Hollywood's scared because everyone's moving to Texas from California.
Yeah.
And LA as a film town may just be on the way to no mas.
I believe it, but I also think that it's just going to be a secondary location.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the specialists will stay in LA, like the heavy, the super pro editors and colorists, and like post-production may remain there. But as far as like production itself, I think it's going to be a shift to global international locations and Texas.
I like Matt already. Speaking of movies, Zootopia has a better chance to win Best Picture than the Cowboys do to win the Super Bowl. Love it. That's great, Matt.
Is this the point spread right here? Is that what we're seeing? Plus 6,500.
So if you put down $100 for the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl, you'd win $7,500.
Great.
And if you put down $100 for Zootopia 2 to win a Best Picture at the Oscars, is it nominated? Is Zootopia 2 nominated?
I guess the
it would have to
Oscars were like last month, I think. We got to wait till next year.
Oh, okay.
But now they have to watch
Oh.
the freaking movie.
Maybe Zootopia 2 is the best movie that comes out in 2025.
Yep.
That's great. So that's really good. Okay, the new rule is all voters must watch all movies.
Exactly.
How many movies is that? Obviously,
That's a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Well, only if you nominate a movie, you have to have watched it. So your friend can't be like, "Hey, my movie's up, nominate it." Oh, cool. I'm not gonna nominate it. I didn't even watch it. Like that's bull.
Oh, I misunderstood it. I thought you were talking about the voting for, which still, obviously, if you're voting for the Oscars, then you have to probably watch every single movie. Wouldn't be fair to otherwise. But
Yeah.
the fact to nominate one, you didn't watch it, that must mean that that's happening more often than you think, and it's just a lot of
That's what they're
trash.
saying. It's a popularity contest.
That's great.
So, anyways,
That's insane. I didn't realize that until the end of the entire segment. So that's great.
that was the whole headline, Carl. Come on now.
My bad.
Yeah.
You just threw up the Oscar. You didn't show a headline.
I mean, I told you the headline.
Oh, yeah. I suppose I just didn't
I
understand
orated it to you.
Yeah.
Yes, because I am a great orator.
Well, yeah. Sometimes I don't always catch on what people mean, but I can understand 7 words to compact it. The headlines are interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Coachella was this past weekend. Are you a big Coachella fan? Do you know anything about Coachella?
I know that it started off just kind of like local, like ACL, kind of not too many big names, and now it's all big names, and now it's too big for its own good.
Yep. Dateline, Indio, California. You know who this guy is?
Deadmau5, yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
You a big fan? You like this dude?
Ghosts and Stuff, probably one of my favorite songs, period.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have to listen to him more to actually say whether or not I enjoy a lot of his stuff, but I bet you there's at least 10 songs of his that I like.
He performed at Coachella.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Would you have liked to have seen that set?
Oh, yeah. Well, ACL now is 2 weeks, but they keep the same headliners. So in 2016, I believe it was, I went to see Drake at ACL the second weekend. And that was cool. I always wanted to see Drake. It was only $150 for the one-day ticket.
Only.
Yeah.
Your money.
Yeah. Well, to see Drake in general probably costs $250 plus easy at these days. But the worst...
Not worth it.
The worst part about it was that Deadmau5 was going on at the same time on the other side of Zilker.
I talked about this on the other show because I was talking about music festival. We mentioned Coachella was going on last week, and I mentioned the problem with music festivals is there's 3 stages, and you have to pick and choose which stage you want to be at. And the sound's never good because the sound's always competing with the stage across the way, unless you're right up front, obviously.
Yes, especially when you're talking about the way too crowded ACLs.
That's what I'm
of the
talking
world.
about.
Yeah,
that's honestly that's the biggest music festival I've been to. ACL.
Yeah, I would say that I haven't gone to one bigger, but I know what you mean, where if all of a sudden you're at the very back of one because maybe you wanted to catch one set of this person on stage A and another person on stage B, then you have to account for walking 20 minutes across. So
Well, see, I had the Foo Fighters over here, and then The Weeknd was playing over here on another stage, and of course I went and saw the Foo Fighters because
Tough
who gives
call.
a shit about The Weeknd. But
Well,
I would have liked to have seen it just to see it, but
that's
Foo Fighters wins.
That's probably why ACL does 2 weekends of pretty much the same artists. So this way, if you missed one headliner that you really wanted to see, you could see both. And that just sounds exhausting.
The trick is a lot of the bands will also play a little intimate club during that, because it's the 2 weekends, during that 1 week in between, you can catch them somewhere else outside of ACL, and that's the best thing to do.
That would be dope of basically the artists who were staying the whole week anyway, right? Like they might as well. I'm sure
it
some of them
gives
could.
them a way to pick up another gig, and then the fans, and sometimes they do pop-ups. Like they don't even announce it. They'll just be like, hey, we're going to play here tonight on the socials. And it's like, oh, okay. But
That's probably something I wish I could keep a little bit more my social media addiction to work for me. That would be cool. Oh, well, maybe next ACL. I always end up working on ACL because of sports, Mm-hmm. So I never get to actually experience a 3-day weekend of music like that.
it's okay. I'm old. It's not for me anymore, but, young me would thrive in those situations.
If I legitimately were a big music head person, I'm not. I would probably enjoy it more. But usually I've heard of 2, and I might be interested in one of the headliners. But after a while,
I know you like your EDM, and because I've been in your car and you've thrown.
Oh yeah.
Much to my dismay, you've thrown on some dubstep while we're while your car's driving us around town.
Yeah.
But Deadmau5 has issued an apology to all the fans at Coachella that were there for his set this weekend.
Did he not go on?
No, he went on.
He just wasn't good?
Yep.
Wow.
Because his best friend, who was also doing a set, they're doing like a double set with some other guy. His best friend introduced him to whiskey that night, according to his apology. Deadmau5, after trying to talk to the crowd, trying to fiddle with his helmet to turn the lights on and off, failing to do mixes, slurring on the microphone, passed out in the middle of his set 25 minutes in.
Wow.
He had to be drug off the stage.
Wow, that is wild. Because dude's been at this over 25 years. I feel like that's the only time I've ever heard him like basically needing to be taken off. He's been at this a while.
In his apology, he said, "Hey, these things happen." Like, no, dude, they don't happen.
It's Coachella. Like these people
lay off the drugs, bro, and the alcohol. I don't care. Alcohol is a drug.
Whatever. Yeah. Whatever it was. Most people, I guess there are performers who can perform somewhere in the spectrum of not sober, but they need to know their limits if that's something that they do. And then really, you can't just try whiskey that day.
And so you're really going to make me believe you've never tried whiskey before, dude? Come on. Seriously. How long has this guy been in the industry? You're wearing a freaking Mickey Mouse hat. Although the background of that hat's pretty interesting. He had the Jim Henson Company make it for him. So it's got like all sorts of crazy stuff. It's got its own cooling system and its own like monitor because he's got a DJ. So he's got to be able to monitor stuff. And then it's got a microphone too.
I imagine it's really cool to put that thing on. It's not just
Probably smells really bad, but yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, hey, I imagine that's something that he got figured out right away was how to effectively clean it and keep it smelling fresh.
I'm sure it
way.
stunk pretty bad at Coachella after he passed out in it. He might have, smelled a little vomity.
That's wild. Well, that's sad. I feel for the people who probably went to Coachella just to see him too.
Hopefully you didn't go to Coachella just to see this asshole because that's dumb. Anyway.
Well, yeah. Is he a jerk overall in real life? I don't even know.
Oh, no, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just saying because he passed out on, it's very unprofessional to show up to your job super drunk. And he claims that he was drunk before he even went on stage, like completely smashed.
Sure. Yeah.
If you know you're at that point, don't do the show. Bow out, man. And so his buddy actually took over the show. Luckily, he had a homie with him that could finish out the set.
Well, it's so funny. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen things like this before, but so again, this was the same weekend that I saw Drake. A$AP Rocky was playing, and he actually apologized to the Weekend 2 crowd for his performance Weekend 1.
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm just kind of like, okay, maybe 3% of people are here. What happened? So I text my friend who went to Weekend 1. She's like, he was terrible. He went on like 25 minutes late. Only played like 10 minutes, and we're pretty sure he was drunk,
and he owned up to it, though?
The next week. The next week he apologized for it. So he actually did apologize week 2, thinking that there was maybe enough turnover worth apologizing for. But even his week 2 performance was shaky. He definitely brought more energy than a week 1, apparently, but there was legitimate 3 minutes of his show where he was chugging down a birthday ice cream sundae or yeah. And yeah, that's the sad thing. I imagine Coachella, it's a big experience. That does suck to see. Deadmau5.
And a lot of people get cabins and camp there. It's way bigger than ACL over there in Indio, California.
That would suck.
Yeah.
I heard that was another issue with them was the line to car camp. Was people were running out of gas long.
Oh, yeah.
7-8 hours.
Would you ever go to something like Burning Man? I wouldn't. Sorry. That's ridiculous.
The very young and naive Carl might have considered it. I don't see where the adult Carl sees
maybe
any pros
if I
and
was
cons in it.
a 17-year-old me may have considered it as well, but no.
No, I knew a few people that went to Burning Man and they made it sound like it was worth any hassles.
No.
But
and I can't go to EDM does not entertain me. I need to see people playing instruments because as a former DJ or somewhat current DJ, I don't like watching DJs. It's just not entertaining.
So it's funny. I do not think that I've gone to enough EDM concerts in my life.
Yeah.
But like I went to, I want to say the guy's name was Coffee Black.
Okay.
I went to his concert one time with a buddy who was visiting Austin, and I just went up there. He had a pretty good performance. It was chill. But I like the dubstep stuff sometimes. So it's like all music. It has to, I guess, hit your own frequency that you enjoy. And
Yeah.
I don't like all dubstep by a mile. I'm pretty sure I probably only like 10% of the dubstep that I hear, but I could think of implementations in film. You know what I'm trying to say. Implications in film where it was implemented into films. Deadpool 2. The main antagonist, Cable, called Deadpool dubstep because dubstep never dies is what he said. Mm-hmm. And then they have a super sick fight scene to dubstep song.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I've seen some good videos edited to dubstep. Dubstep has its place, its time and place, but when you're just trying to relax and, when you're cruising around, no.
I guess
Sorry,
I
I'm
guess
old.
that's true.
Maybe if I was young, like I said, now I'm yelling at clouds. Anyway, we were talking about some basketball earlier. Did you watch any of the NBA playoffs?
The Clippers games were both, I thought, really good. For overtime, the first one, and then Kawhi just going vintage Kawhi last night. That was insane. I don't think I've seen too much more than random parts of play-ins. The Easter Sunday games I saw. It's a little bit of an issue when they start on Easter. In fact, Phil Jackson said something ridiculous like, you're testing people's faith by having playoff games on Easter. It's like,
is Phil Jackson religious? I thought he was like Buddhist or something.
I think he does believe in faith. Like he's not an atheist for sure.
Okay.
A man of faith.
Matt's in here. He says, "Isn't Coffee Black the character Andre 3000 plays in Semi-Pro?"
Yes.
So he's also a DJ. or an EDM artist.
I feel like this guy's been around longer than that because it seemed like he started playing music in like 2000. Like I looked him up, so I think he came out before Semi-Pro. But I think that's because I don't think his name was Black Coffee. It might be Black Coffee actually.
Okay.
Yeah, that's worth, I guess, if you're really curious. It was.
Is
nice.
he a black dude?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure he was. But yeah, he was just up there on a stage in Austin at a pretty cool venue in Austin that I don't even remember what it is. I need to look it up when I saw him and backtrack from there. But overall, yeah, like EDM house music, we were talking about it making a comeback.
Yeah.
Or not making a comeback. It's starting to really
left.
build.
It started with disco and it hasn't left. So
I meant to ask this on the show, so we didn't talk about it. But you said it's starting to build here in San Antonio. So where would I want to go if you can name a place, or where can I find it?
I'll have to get back to you on that, honestly.
Okay.
But there is a trend of daytime EDM coffee shop events now with DJs spinning in coffee shops. That's becoming a trend. But I mentioned the NBA because, and I mentioned black guys. Speaking of black guys, Kawhi Leonard went off last night.
He did.
Like crazy. Like he went off.
He did. Yeah. Like I was watching the highlights because I didn't get to see all of the game. But I watched the second half. The end of the first half shot was just, that's the kind of night it's going to be. And Kawhi
couldn't miss.
I think everybody pretty much agrees that when Kawhi is healthy, he could potentially be the best player on the court. He had
as much as we tend to hate the guy here in San Antonio for the whole disaster when he left. The guy's a baller. You can't deny his talent. It's unbelievable what he's able to do out there. Even now, he's older. He was injured all year on and off. But when it comes to game time, he tends to show up.
He's a special player. It's sad that he had all of these injuries throughout his career because I do believe they're all legitimate injuries. But it's a phenomenal thing to see him in the zone. It's a little crazy.
Adrian's in here. Isn't EDM like old house music? EDM just stands for electronic dance music. It encompasses all the genres.
It really is you can love 2% of it and hate the other 90% of EDM.
Yep. So despite Jokic's triple-double, he also turned the ball over 7 times last night for the Denver Nuggets.
Almost quadruple-double.
Was it? Damn.
Well, there you go. 3 more turnovers, and he has 4.
Man, he was so close.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to root for him next time. So who you got? Like, let's not this round. Who you got winning it all? Let's just skip to the end.
That would actually be very Kawhi Leonard-like if he somehow led the Clippers with James Harden to the championship. They sort of remind me of the Mavericks last year. Luka and Kyrie, Kawhi and James Harden, like one guy kind of past his prime, the other one in his prime, but I guess Kawhi could be better than Luka because he makes defensive plays too. The game-saving, I don't want to say the Clippers are going to win the championship, but
that's who you're rooting for?
I feel like, no, the Pacers are who I'm rooting for.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, it's weird being a Spurs fan and a 76ers fan, and both of them aren't in there, so who do I pull for? So I sort of think I would like Indianapolis to win, just because that would really be a cool story for Indy. I don't think that there is a legitimate big 3 that's going to run through. The Clippers are probably the most likely to win. The Cavaliers had the best season along with Oklahoma City, but I just don't have. I feel like there could be something more to the Celtics. So yeah, seeing Patty Mills waving the towel on the Clippers bench brought a tear to my eye. It did. Drew Eubanks and Patty Mills being on the Clippers almost shows you how much Kawhi really did appreciate his time in San Antonio.
Yeah,
like if it were all bad, he probably would have vetoed it.
I'm just glad to see Patty anytime.
Yeah, Patty's great.
He cracks me up. That dude's got some fashion stuff going on too. Do you follow Patty on his IG? He'd be posting all sorts of like high fashion photos with his wife.
Yeah, I was about to say his wife is a big fashion person herself, and I think Patty obviously always knew how to dress. Yeah, Patty and the claw logo going up really did bring a lot of memories back to 2014. That was a fun ride. That was good times.
Patty. Shout out to all you in the chat here. We are on Twitch right now. We're gonna do some gaming later because apparently there's an old game has been remade in 4K greatness. Oblivion, Elder Scrolls, is that right?
Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion.
All right, you're gonna have to school me on real quick. What's this game about? 30-second version.
30-second version. It is a mystical world that has magic, bows, arrows, swords, no guns or anything like that. So it's a first-person RPG role-playing game where you are basically able to just go through the world and become a hero that saves the world from being taken over by hell.
And why is this just taking over gaming news today? What's the big deal?
Oblivion is arguably one of the top 10 greatest games of all time. And it felt like it was neglected a little because Skyrim was perhaps bigger because Oblivion was so good in itself that Skyrim got remade, I think, I'm not joking, 10 times. So now I think Oblivion coming out is a big deal because we knew it was coming and they just shadow dropped it. So they just basically said, okay, we've had leaks for months now. Here it is. We're announcing it. You can download it right now during this morning's press conference. So I legitimately have put in, I'm going to say near 1,000 hours playing multiple different characters over the course of, it came out in 2006. And it would be almost a comfort game where it's like, I'm going to go back and try, being a magician this time.
So this came out originally on, console-wise, it originally came out on the Xbox 360.
Correct.
Back in 2006.
Yes.
And Xbox has actually, they bought the game manufacturer Bethesda. Bethesda.
Bethesda.
Bethesda.
I think.
Yeah, that's in like Maine or something.
I don't know.
Anyway, Microsoft bought them out, and they're opening up all their IP, all their games to every console. So PlayStation can now play Xbox games on PlayStation, which is pretty cool via download.
That's very. I think you might remember, but I don't know if you were nerdy enough to actually really care about the console wars. It would be the GameCube versus the PS2 versus the Xbox, and your friends who had the other one that you didn't have would, just basically always be like, oh, mine's better.
Well, now they got the cross-play, so you can, if your buddy has a PS5 and you have an Xbox, you can both play the same game together online. So it's just the console wars are over, according to Phil Spencer, the lead gaming guy at Xbox.
I think that's basically where, unlike movie theater or movies like we were talking about earlier, the video game production studios are always going to be running and the people putting out the stuff. And it's only going to get more popular. Video games are addictive.
It only makes sense to follow this business model, because if you're making a video game, why wouldn't you want it on as many consoles as possible? So,
people will play
that way
the
you can make that
2006
much more money.
Oh yeah, people will play the 2006 version and just complain the whole time. Why can't they update this? And they do, and they're using the Unreal 5 engine, so it's I'm sure you noticed like 120 gigs download.
Yeah,
it's a pretty hefty file.
It took like 30 minutes to download it.
And that's impressive for something to take 30 minutes on your internet speed. But
gotta have that Google Fiber. Baby.
Yeah, but that's the cool thing, I guess, is that they are doing that to these really popular games, saying, hey, we'll just upgrade it. And I think we're getting to the point where GTA 6 already got pushed back.
Again?
Yeah, it's probably going to be Christmas. Yeah, but GTA 7...
They'll make a ton of money.
If they decide to go GTA 7, could probably be made like in half the time the way AI tools are advancing.
Yeah, but you see how long they milked GTA 5. They're still milking it.
They are.
What is that? It's almost like 2 decades. It's like 15 years or something.
And to their credit, it does feel like legitimate add-ons to the games, too. They brought it over all the way to upgraded graphics on the PS5.
They focused on that
mistaken.
online so much that, 6 got delayed. So.
And I honestly tried playing online, and I just didn't like it. I'm not a big fan of online multiplayers.
I got sucked into it. I was doing like heist with my friends and stuff like that.
See, that's cool. If you have friends that also have the game.
I had one friend that had the game.
Yeah.
And it was right. We got into it during COVID lockdown, so it was like the perfect thing. It was like, oh, let's do some heist. And dude, I would waste like 5-6 hours on one heist, only to end up dying at the end and having to start over.
I can think back to when I basically was living, to entertain myself as a child, and I had access to online gaming with Call of Duty and Gears of War on the original Xbox 3 or the Xbox 360, I should say. And that was hours spent just playing online, making digital friends that I don't know where they are now, but you spent hours with them just messing around on a game. So I'm excited about this game, but I appreciate that they're going back into playing some single-player focus, because they did try Elder Scrolls Online. I tried it. I couldn't get into it again, probably because there were so many glitches that, because the way it would work is everybody was on the same beginner one since I joined them. So I would miss all the story because they just were characters running on a loop. So you would come in and you'd be joining somebody else's conversation. It's like, wait, what do I need to do for this quest? And then they would start over, and it would just be annoying, because it was just little glitches early on. But yeah.
Well, that's the problem with
yes, Gears of War is the best. They are making a new one, and
what are they on? 5?
They're on like 5 or 6.
I don't think I played 5. I need to get into it. I remember when it first came out, that chainsaw gun was unbelievable.
That was so dope. Yeah,
it was so hard getting used to the system though, the duck and cover, because it's like third person, and you got to slide into your It's all about duck and cover. It's kind of like Uncharted a little bit with the cover system.
I thought the first one was really good, and I can't remember playing many more. But
I think I played the first 3.
I want to say that I definitely played Gears 2, and they've come out with even Gears of War Tactics, like a different
I played
take
that
on
one.
it.
I beat that one. It's a real time strategy game, kind of like StarCraft.
Okay, yeah.
It's pretty cool. I liked it. Yeah,
Okay.
not bad. The Halo had one too, which was an RTS game like that. The Gears one has a little different twist to it, but it's still good.
That's something where I feel like I like what I like, and if they change it, I'll maybe keep going with it. Like apparently they're changing how Pokemon's going to do their stuff on Switch, and I haven't bought every single Pokemon game since they came out, but it's almost to that point. So like when Pokemon Go didn't have the turn-based style, I kind of lost a lot of interest because I wanted the turn-based style, but they kept it fast for the game not to slow down for people who had never played Pokemon, the video games before. So it's very interesting what people decide to do and how they keep IPs interesting. Like there's even
no, go ahead.
Tekken, the fighting game.
I love Tekken. Yeah.
There's a Pokemon Pokken.
Okay.
And
I don't know what that's supposed to be, but okay. It's like a fighting game with Pokemon, but it's like in the style of Tekken.
Yeah, it's actually very popular. And
so you fight with like Jigglypuff and Kirby?
I'm sure
or not Kirby, but
I'm sure they have limited numbers, but yeah.
I always get Kirby confused with Pokemon for some reason.
Kirby looks like Jigglypuff.
Yeah, that's why. They're just like big blobby characters. Hustler 210 is in here. He says the new Gears is going to be a prequel, how it all got started, called E-Day. So,
okay, now that's actually interesting because if I remember, the main antagonists all just popped up on major cities and invaded the major cities from underground. Yeah.
So I think since Xbox is now releasing all their exclusives on all consoles, PS fans will be able to play Gears on the PS.
That's true. It's pretty easy with the web browser to play anything on Game Pass these days.
Yeah, they got the cloud play or whatever it's called. But yeah, it's good, but it's better to have the actual game downloaded so you can get the full graphics.
That's true. Yeah, so you're not streaming
performance. You mentioned Switch. They originally, when they announced the Switch, they canceled the pre-orders for Americans because of the tariffs. But they've taken that back, and Switch pre-orders are going to open up on the 24th with no price increase due to tariffs. $450 on Thursday.
Great. And, it's one of those things where I feel like the online gaming, as long as it's equal playing grounds, I'm good with it. And one of my favorite online games of all time was Mario Kart.
Oh, yeah. And so the release title that's going to be packaged with the Switch, for $500, you get the new open world Mario Kart game, which is, I'm interested. I love Mario Kart, so I'm in.
And I think Nintendo's online, whatever it is pretty cheap. I want to say it's $20 a year, $25, $30
I believe,
a year.
It's pretty cheap, and it includes a lot of the retro games as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I will have to... I haven't looked online for Switch in a while, but the new Switch excites me because I've probably also had almost every Nintendo handheld since I was a kid.
Nintendo is, is great for their exclusives, for their IPs, for Mario, for Zelda, for Metroid, Smash Brothers. Even though I hate that game,
they need
Pokemon,
to come out. They need to come out with a new Star Fox where you're in the spaceships.
I could go for a Star Fox.
Like Star Fox 64 was so good, and they have not come out with a sequel to Star Fox 64.
They need to have some kind of dogfighting element in there because there hasn't been a good true online dogfighting game since Crimson Skies on the original Xbox way back when.
I feel like Star Fox could do that because
they could easily do that easily.
Well, they're going to make a Star Fox movie before they make a Star Fox video game.
Star Fox was ahead of its time. I remember when the original came out on an SNES, Super Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they used all those polygon 3D graphics, and it was one of the first games to ever do that. And it looks like shit now, but it was ahead of its time back then. And the audio, too, was advanced for a game on a Super Nintendo.
Okay, so you said the 24th. So is that Friday or is that Thursday?
That would be Thursday.
Thursday.
It's Tuesday the 22nd right now as we do this show live on YouTube and Twitch.
Is it like Thursday midnight Eastern?
I have no idea. I guess it would vary by store. If you try to order through Nintendo, they're doing like this invite thing. So you got to go to Nintendo.com now and register, and then they're going to send out email invites, and basically you'll have like a certain amount of time to purchase it once they send the email out. But you got to meet some kind of requirement, like you have to be a Nintendo Online member for at least 12 months before it's going to prioritize those people that have been there longer, basically. And I haven't, so I'm going to try to check Best Buy's website.
Okay.
And then I'm going to be checking Reddit because somebody will drop the news on Reddit on where that you can get it. And then I think Reddit get it. I think Target had mentioned they're going to do midnight Central Time.
So, but it's all online, not in-store stuff.
Yeah, no. These are pre-orders. So, yeah, it's all online. You could probably go to GameStop when they open up and pre-order it at 10 a.m.
I was thinking of supporting GameStop if I
you
were
could
to
probably
buy a new
at
console.
retail store it's just going to be when they open up. So
They used to do those midnight things, but I feel like there was probably people.
I don't know if the demand's there right now because a lot of people are struggling, man. Like and it's a weird release in the middle of the summer. June 5th is the actual release date.
That's just my one fear, but I also think you're right. It's not something that's as common, but when the PS5 came out, it took a legitimate 6 months for people to stop scalping them.
I got one on day one from Best Buy, and then the Xbox came out the same time. I got one of those from Best Buy as well.
I remember I really wanted to play Cyberpunk, and I could not find a Series X, Series S, or PS5.
Mm-hmm.
And I was basically just going to buy the first thing that I could get, and it was a Series S. And I was pretty happy because it was the cheapest among them, and it could still run Cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm.
And that was...
So that's what you're rocking? Your Xbox is a Series S?
Yes.
Nice.
It's just a small little thing.
The white one, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have a disk drive.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It does have some graphical limitations, but really, I could be okay without ever upgrading to an X.
No.
I do think that there was a time where I was going to buy the Microsoft VR, but I think they canned that.
I don't even remember that being a thing. I know Kinect was dope, 2 systems ago or whenever that was out.
That was
Kinect
the 1S.
Was really cool.
I did not get the 1S. Yeah.
I had the Kinect. It was cool because this was back, when we still had cable boxes. You could connect your cable box to it and control your entire TV situation through the Kinect through voice commands and gestures.
Oh, that's cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah, I remember the philosophy of the Kinect was basically they thought that it would almost be like the Switch where you had entire motion, they knew when you were doing everything.
I felt like it worked just as well, if not better than the Switch, because it could see your whole, every movement you made. So
I remember showing that to my parents, and I didn't buy it, but I remember showing them oh, hey, they're doing this kind of stuff, and they just immediately Big Brother's always watching kind of, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much where we're getting these days, but I've given up on caring about that. Isn't the spoiler alert, if you had any interest in reading 1984, isn't the last four...
Who's that by? Orson Welles?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Orwellian is what I think people call it these days. But yeah, the last 4 words of the book are, and you can shut off now if you're not interested in the last 4 words of the book. Okay, if you're gone, you're gone. It is, he realized he loved Big Brother. It's oh, yeah, if all of a sudden everything internet went away and all that kind of stuff because we had radicals who said, hey, the government's controlling the internet, let's destroy the internet, we would all be lost without the internet.
I don't know. I think it might reset for the better,
It
would be very inconvenient, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing right now.
Yeah,
but
it's
also,
a lot of what I do.
Also, it would reset the world because we wouldn't be able to communicate and see things instantly anymore. We wouldn't be able to be travel, the travel industry is completely changed because of the internet. A lot of people aren't even interested in going somewhere because they've been watching an influencer travel through that country for the last 2 years. Why do I need to go there?
Exactly. And
George Orwell. I said Orson Welles. George Orwell.
I think that's another artist.
Thank you, Matt.
Right, Arthur. Yeah. That's kind of the funny thing of, I guess, going back to what you were talking about. Imagine you could only consume news by reading a newspaper. So thus, you either had to read the newspaper yourself, somehow got the newspaper if you wanted a subscription. I guess a lot of people did buy subscriptions to the newspaper.
Carl, I lived in this era.
Yeah, I did. I caught the tail end of it. Or the morning and evening news on your local television station.
Yeah.
That was it.
Even that's dying now. They're firing all the old school anchors and getting multimedia journalists. But no, I used to go to the bathroom. You don't have no phone. You take the paper into the bathroom.
That's true. That's almost the most useful thing.
Finding
for the
a
newspaper.
job, there was no Indeed. You opened up the classified and get your highlighter out, and boom, they're hiring. And West Telemarketing. Hello, you're gonna sell Girls Gone Wild videos for $6 an hour. My first job ever. Awful.
Really?
Awful.
Just cold called people that were interested.
No. They called me. I was inbound. They called that inbound.
Oh, okay. That's a lot easier.
Yeah. So,
okay.
There was this company in San Antonio called West Telemarketing. I don't know if it still exists, but they used to take all the calls for as seen on TV products.
Yeah.
So any 800 number you saw on TV would get routed through that company.
Oh.
Doesn't matter the product.
That makes sense.
Back in the day, Girls Gone Wild was like a late night thing, and I had the late night shift. And so it was Rotisserie Grill, the Showtime Rotisserie Grill, Girls Gone Wild, and the Slap Chop. Those were the 3 products that I would get calls for in the middle of the night at West Telemarketing. It was awful. And I lasted maybe 3 weeks before I just didn't show up anymore. I couldn't do it, man.
Jeez. You make me realize how blessed I am to be a consumer in the early 20s of the 21st century, because it sounds miserable being a consumer in the still fringe 1900s technology. Because now it's just the internet. We cut out the middleman 1,000,000%. Nobody calls in to buy one.
I heard some kids refer to it the other day. It's like, you mean how it was back in the 1900s? And I was just like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You're talking about like 1995 or something, and they say the 1900s.
Oh yeah, it is. That's because
awful.
That's because it's accurate though.
That's awful.
I do that too, just because I was born in '91, but like I remember good chunks of the '90s, and I was a big Seinfeld fan growing up. So in the 2000s, I watched Seinfeld. But
a lot of the Gen Zers, and I guess it's Gen Alpha now coming back around. They find Seinfeld offensive. There's certain episodes they find highly offensive.
I can see that. There was an entire episode that had to be banned from TV where Kramer accidentally burned a Puerto Rican flag. They banned it from reruns. Absolutely. You can still find it occasionally, but you can't see it on actual TV because they've banned.
There's a lot of shows that have banned episodes. Sunny in Philadelphia has a few of them where they were wearing blackface and Disney pulled up off the streaming.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but Robert Downey Jr. gets a pass on,
Tropic Thunder was almost a statement to make fun of that, but at the same time, you're right. He does get away with it.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Like that movie was almost intentionally trying to be offensive in so many ways, and it was the last time you could make a movie like that.
Well,
is that the wrap it up music?
You can still get away with it. You just have to be the right actor. You just, some actors get a pass for things.
All right, I'm ready to play Oblivion. So
we'll be back in 25, 30 minutes on Twitch and YouTube playing some video games, playing Oblivion. This has been another episode of LG's House. Thank you to Karl Schoening for showing up and doing the show with me. I'm going to try to do another one of these later in the week. Make sure to like and subscribe. Hit that bell. Yes, Kramer did do that.
That's true.
He dropped the N-bomb. It was unfortunate. All right, y'all. We're out. Have a good night. Peace.